Hello and welcome back to Throttle Up. Now today we are going to look at the facelifted version of the Hyundai Venue which was launched this year in 2022. This is the SX optional variant which is essentially the topmost variant in the Venue's lineup. The SX optional variant is available in three powertrains. First being the 1 liter turbo petrol IMT, second 1 liter turbo petrol DCT, and third being the manual 1.5 diesel. This we have today is the 1.5 diesel, which is obviously a manual since you don't get an automatic option in the 1.5 diesel. In fact, the only variants where you get the option to buy a diesel are S Plus, SX, and this SX optional. The variants below these three ones do not get any option for the diesel engine, you only get a 1.2 liter naturally aspirated petrol. The turbo petrol options only come in the optional variants of the SX and S. So basically S optional and SX optional. So now let's get into the review of the 1.5 diesel SX optional variant, which is pretty much the highest you can go in the Venue's lineup. Now coming to the key fob, you get a very regular conventional Hyundai key with 4 buttons for the door unlock, lock, your tailgate release, and the fourth button at the bottom is to automatically start the engine of the car from the key itself. The Hyundai logo is at the back, finished in brown plastic altogether, so nothing extraordinary about that key, pretty much what you have seen in other Hyundai cars. Coming to the engine, now this, as I mentioned, is the 1.5 liter diesel. Let me just open the bonnet. Yeah, there we go. So this 1.5 diesel produces a maximum power of 100 PS and a maximum torque of 240 Newton meters. The CRDI 16V written right there on the plastic itself. No hydraulic struts obviously, and all in all a very neat looking engine with not a lot of use of plastic, but still. The shocking thing is that there is no insulation on the bonnet, which is kind of surprising. But it's kind of on the heavier side, not too heavy but not too light as well. So that was for the engine and the hood of the car. Now let's talk about the front fascia of the new Hyundai Venue. The first thing we notice is that there's a huge difference between the outgoing version and this version with the grille. Now there's a lot of chrome used on the new grille itself, just like in the Hyundai Alcazar itself. Now these rectangular designs keep on getting smaller as you go towards the bottom of that grille, as you can see in the screen as well. The half of it, the top of it is closed, but the bottom half is open for ventilation. So there, closed on the top and open in the bottom. Now the ADAM is kind of on the smaller side because a lot of plastics have been used, but they are closed. So there's not a lot of ventilation in the ADAM itself. The skid plate is plastic and it has a silver finish to it, not chrome, which is nice. A lot of straight lines just like this visible on the front design altogether. Now this is the DRL, which is very similar to the one we had in the last generation. That's for the high beam. This is the LED projector. The turn indicators are halogen, which is kind of sad, but you get this piano black finish between the DRL unit and the indicator unit, which is kind of nice. This is how it looks like when it's lit up. You can see the halogen turn indicators and the DRL, which has white illumination just like in the projector itself. Even the high beam lamp also has the white throw. So I don't know why they haven't done the LED turn indicators. They could have, and that would have looked much better. So that was for the headlamp unit. Now this is all piano black, which I really like, so it does add to the contrast. Just like the use of black between those chrome rectangles have made the grille stand out. Now this front grille is kind of polarizing and some might hate it, some might love it. I am not particularly a fan of it, but it's still a good looking front profile. I would have rather appreciated if they had experimented more with the headlamp unit and that bonnet cut, because that would have changed things a lot more as compared to that change in the grille itself. But it's understandable since this is a facelift and not a complete overhaul in the generation of the Hyundai Venue. So overall, a decent looking front profile in this facelift of the Hyundai Venue. Now coming to the side profile, since this is a sub 4 meter compact SUV, the length of the car is 3995 mm with a wheelbase of 2500 mm. Not a lot of changes that have been done in this facelift of the Venue, because it looks pretty much the same apart from that alloy wheel design, which is rather new. It continues to be a very boxy design just like we had in the previous generation as well. Now Brezza, Sonnet and even the other compact SUVs have this boxy design, so I would have loved if they had experimented more with the cuts and creases so as to make it less boxy. On the contrary, they have actually made some things like the tail lamp and the handle more squarish. So my dream design for the Hyundai Venue will still remain a dream, at least for now. Coming to the wheel, this is a 215/60 R16 which has this 5-spoke alloy design with a dual tone diamond cut treatment. You also can see the disc brakes and the calipers which are finished in silver also inside that alloy wheel design. There's also the black plastic cladding which runs throughout the sides of the car. Now it has this trapezium shaped cladding below the doors. Now onto the ORVMs, you get a very small turn indicator which is finished in body colored and black plastic, so there's no puddle lamp or any blind spot camera. This was the boxy handle which I was talking about, so all the curves have been removed and they are going for out and out square design. Coming to the door sill, there is no chrome usage, although you get the roof rails which is finished in silver. They also seem to be functional in fact. Now this is a body colored shark fin antenna, and C pillar is also finished in body color itself, so no piano black or chrome whatsoever. Now the rear has also been revamped, and this is something which I really like in this generation over the last generation, because the tail lamps are now connected and they are not very squarish. There is this very nice looking black piano black treatment also given just on top of that tail lamp unit, so I really like that touch as well. There are a lot of rectangular designs and square inside that tail lamp, but we'll come to that in a bit. Nonetheless, a very good looking rear, and that tail lamp enhances that overall look. Venue badging with a lot of spaces in between those letters with Hyundai badging. This is the connected tail lamp which I was talking about. Obviously lights up in red. Now you get the rear wiper, rear defogger and a stop lamp, but has no spoiler treatment, so to say. Now the tail lamp. Now this is the tail lamp which has this LED hammer kind of design. This is the brake lamp, and that's for your turn indicators. So you look at those rectangular designs I was talking about. Yeah. So this is how it looks like when it's lit up. Again, very light red crystal like design. That's the main tail lamp. That's the turn indicator below, which has this rectangular treatment. The brake light is in between, finished in red. So a very different take on the Hyundai's tail lamp as compared to the previous generation. So I like that. SX badging. So you don't get any optional badging, but you do get the SX badging. Now below this you also get the straight line black plastic treatment with the reflectors and the reverse light, with again a lot of straight line quadrilaterals. This is a diffuser treatment which is all plastic finished in silver. No fake exhaust treatment, because the real fake exhaust is down on the right side, a single normal looking exhaust. That's the rear parking camera. That's the rear parking sensor. So now let's open the boot of the car. Now this boot does not get any electric function, so you have to press it manually and it will open effortlessly. The boot space is 343 liters and it's adequately shaped and size. You get 60/40 split as well. There's this halogen lamp placed on the right. The wheels also do not eat up much into the space of the boot, so that's nice. The loading lip is kind of on the higher side. Now for the fifth spare wheel, this is a 15-incher steel wheel, so you do not get the same sized alloy wheel just like you do in the 4 other wheels. So that's normal, I'll say, because you don't get the fifth wheel as an alloy in this segment. You also get a parcel tray as well. So that was for the boot. Now let's head to the back seat of the car. See these 3 rectangles on the side of the tail lamp as well. So a lot of straight lines and 90-degree quadrilaterals. Now coming to the doors, not too light, not too heavy, average weight. Hard plastics, a lot of hard plastic. This is hard plastic. The grab handle finished in white leather, so that's nice. Speaker, and the bottle holder is also kind of small. This is for your power windows, and this is the handle which is finished in silver, not chrome as such. Now coming to the seat, has a very nice recline angle and is finished in part leather, part fabric, and has a dual tone beige and black treatment, which I really like. Now let's get into the back seat of the car. Now since this is the topmost variant, you also get 6 airbags. You can see the zip on the seats as well, so that's for the thorax airbags, but we'll come to that in a bit. Closing the door, I'll close the door first. Has a decent thud. The legroom is nice, nothing that you can complain about, and the magazine holder is just on the left side, so I don't know what's that about. There's no magazine holder on the driver's side seat. The legroom is nice, as I mentioned. The thigh support is also adequate, but nothing which will blow your mind, since at the end of the day this is a sub 4 meter compact SUV. You need more space, you can opt for a sedan. So a lot of headroom is on offer. You do not get any panoramic sunroof, so a lot of headroom. Also this roofline slants a bit, so that also adds to the headroom. Armrest with 2 cup holders finished in black leather. For the grab handles, there's this cut, so the grab handle very nicely goes into that roofline. A halogen cabin lamp in the center, so no LED treatment. There's the sunroof I was talking about. Now this is how the dashboard looks like. Might remind you of the previous generation of the Venue, since a lot of elements have been picked up from there. The floating touchscreen, the AC vents, You also get the air purifier in the SX optional, and this chrome surround across the AC vents, rear AC vents, are what I really like. So very nicely used plastic. You get two USB sockets as well, which are Type C. So Hyundai is basically showing off that they are tech savvy. But jokes apart, you do get this venue written on the mats, and there's a hump which is not a lot, but still it's not negligible as well. So there's a decent size of the hump. Now this gets the two-step adjustability for the recline angle, but I don't see any point of it you adjusting it to the first upright recline angle, because why would you want to sit more upright and not in a comfortable position? That might be just to increase the boot space by a bit. Other than that, the second step has a good recline angle. Now the door pads in the front remain identical to that of the doors behind. This is the white leather which I was talking about, hard plastic on the bottom as well. That's the speaker. Bottle holder is of decent size. I hate how they have put zero effort in designing that tweeter. This is the silver handle with a rather odd looking door lock unlock knob. The driver side door gets electrical adjustment for the ORVMs, auto foldability, door lock unlock buttons, 4 power window buttons, where the auto up down is only for the driver side, and the window lock button as well. Now for the driver side adjust, you get a semi kind of treatment where the height adjust is manual, but the electric adjustment is offered for the backrest support and the overall seat adjust. Now Venue might be the first car to provide electrical adjustment of any sorts in this segment. The height adjust is manual as I mentioned. The electrical adjustability is exclusive to the SX optional variant in the Venue. Now this is a manual, so you get 3 pedals and a proper dedicated dead pedal on the left side. That's the bonnet opener. That's not a cubby hole, this is for your wiring and your fuse connection, so I will not open that. Now as for your controls, engine start stop button on the left, headlight leveler and traction control button on the right. There's also a dummy button placement in the center of those 2 buttons. Now let's enter the cockpit. Now this is the steering wheel and the instrument cluster that greets you. Now the instrument cluster is all digital since this is the topmost variant. Now starting the ignition of the car, this is the instrument cluster and this is how it lights up. Might remind you of the Kia Carens since this is pretty much the exact same unit which you get in the Hyundai Venue itself. Now it's an all digital unit with no analog dial treatment to be seen, which I definitely miss. I do not like these digital numbers which they do on this instrument cluster. Now the MID comes with a lot of features on offer with this compass as you can see right there. It also gets the tire pressure monitor in the MID itself. You get the distance to empty, odometer, accumulated driving information, like in all the Hyundai cars. Now the speedometer is on the left and the tachometer is on the right, but it's an all digital thing. The pink color can be changed by changing the themes through the infotainment system. The fuel gauge is on the left and the engine temperature indicators on the right. As for the steering wheel, you get infotainment controls on the left and cruise control and MID controls on the right. Very neat looking buttons, very nice plastic use, but it's not piano black and you do not get any brushed silver for the scrollable. It's simple silver plastic. You get the 4-spoke design just like you do in the Creta and the Tucson as well. It's an all leather wrap steering wheel. Now the steering wheel only gets the tilt function and you cannot adjust it for reach, which ideally should have been there since this is the topmost variant in the Hyundai Venue, so why not? But you do not get that. Now the left stalk is for your wipers and the right stalk is for your headlamps. You do get auto headlamps and auto rain sensing wipers in this variant. There's also this decut treatment that they have given on the steering wheel to make it feel more sporty, but it does not add that value to the design, but it's still there nonetheless. So this is how the dashboard looks like. It comes with a floating design 8-inch infotainment system which has this very Hyundai-like user interface, which I mean as an absolute compliment because it is so good to use. It's so smooth, so slick, very responsive. Now a very surprising thing is that it does not get the wireless feature for the Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, even though it gets wireless connectivity in the lower trim. So that's really weird. I don't know why would you take away a feature in the top variant as compared to the lower trims. Anyways, coming to other bits, you get this sound of nature feature in the SX optional variant as well, which is basically a set of ASMR sound with this forest and sea sounds and universe sounds to keep you calm. And if you're not in the mood for listening to some music, you might just as well use these sounds and music pieces to calm you and to make you feel better. You also get the inbuilt navigation with climate control settings as well. Now it seems a bit redundant to me to give the climate control settings inside the infotainment as well, even when you get it just below the infotainment. So I don't know what's that about, but you still get it in the infotainment as well. Now for the settings, you get a host of settings to operate from the infotainment as well. Coming to the themes of your instrument cluster, ambient lighting for the cluster as I just mentioned. So if you have to select themes, you have to go to the cluster and there are 3 themes, preset themes which you can select. So if I select theme C, You can see that the color has been changed from pink to blue. Other settings include your settings for lights, your doors, climates, driver assistance, all of that. So a host of features, again nothing to complain about. You get this floating treatment with the AC vents finished in chrome surrounds, which give this extended look to the infotainment console. You get two rotary buttons to control the power and the volume of the infotainment, so I really like that. There are no touch buttons because you get proper dedicated buttons for the infotainment, and there is the hazard lamp turn off or turn on indicator. Now, I'm a fan of how they do the AC vents, especially in this venue. Displays in the knob itself, the controls are on the knobs itself. I absolutely adore this unit. It is very Land Rover like, and apart from those two buttons, everything is housed in those knobs, and the display is in the center. Very thoughtful design altogether. For the ergonomic features, you get one Type-C socket, one USB socket with a 12-volt socket right in between, and it gets the wireless charger as well in the center cubby hole. You also get some space behind the gear knob to basically keep your key, so it fits perfectly well, the key itself. There's this chrome surround lining across that space and the gear knob, which I really like. So it runs across the center console. You get two cup holders in the center with the air purifier in the center console as well. This is a Hyundai, so and they had to give the air purifier in the top variant, so there it is. Now the air purifier usually eats up a bit of a space, and it eats up here too, but you get still decent amount of space in the center armrest, which does not slide, by the way. No electric handbrake, you get the manual handbrake with this leather finished gear knobs. Since this is a manual, it's a 6-speed manual and all leather finish on that gear knob, since this is the topmost variant. Now this is how the dashboard looks like. Very similar to the previous generation, but the instrument cluster and the infotainment has been changed. Hard plastic on the top, so all plastics, no leather use. This is also hard plastic. This is some space to keep your stuff, maybe, but it's not finished in any fabric or metal. The AC vents also get a very squarish design. The glove box has the cool function, but no lamp, and the glove box is sort of on the smaller side, but nothing very small or nothing too big, so nothing extraordinary about that glove box overall. Now for the sun visors, you get a mirror with no lamp for the co-driver's side. The visor on the driver's side just gets a ticket holder with no mirror or any lamp. The inside rear view mirror, it gets the auto dimming feature with SOS buttons below as well. Now for the lamps, very simple halogen twin lamps for the front cabin. This is the mic for call connectivity. Now it also gets a single pane sunroof with the manual blinds, and the sunroof pane, the glass pane, is adequate size, not too big, not too small, and it goes all the way behind till the very end of that sunroof cut, so that's really nice. It's more than the Tucson actually. The space when it opens is more than what you get when the Tucson sunroof is opened, even though it's a panoramic, so that's really nice. It also gets the tilt function as well. Now that was for the sunroof. Let's close the blinds and the sunroof altogether. Now coming to the seats, it gets dual treatment for the seats, but first, no seatbelt adjuster, which is kind of a disappointment. Good bolstering, white and black color for the seats with nice cushioning, and you get fabric and leather treatment. So leather is on the sides and fabric is at the center of that seat. The white is basically fabric and the black part is leather. It gets the adjustable headrests as well. The other features worth noting are that it comes with 6 airbags and also includes the connected car tech suite, which basically Hyundai calls as Blue Link. So that was pretty much it for all the features and the bells and whistles which the topmost variant of the Hyundai Venue offers. Coming to the part whether you should consider this car or not. This 1.5 diesel SX optional costs around 12.3 lakhs ex showroom, which is bit on the pricier side because this is at the end of the day still a sub 4 meter car. And if you're spending say around 12.5 lakhs ex showroom, you are basically spoiled with choices, with options in the sub 4 meter segment, in the compact SUV and hatchbacks. In the crossover or the SUV segment like the Creta or the Seltos, you can buy the lower variants obviously, and even in the sedans you can go for a Verna, the Slavia or the Honda City. So there are so many options you can choose from. Having said that, even though there are a lot many options in this price bracket, the Hyundai Venue still makes for a very good proposition given the engine that is offered. Also the features are top notch. There are so many features which are segment first. The electrical adjustment for the driver side is something that you do not see in any other car in this price range. For those who have used a 1.5 CRDI diesel engine of the Hyundai, they know how delight of an engine that is. It has so much pep, it has so much kick, the torque output is just amazing. I don't see a better diesel option being offered in this price bracket. Even talking about the other comparative CVs, most of them are transitioning to a petrol engine. So if you want to go for a diesel specifically, the Hyundai Venue is to go for. In terms of the best value for money variant within the car, SX would be the best pick when we are specifically talking about the value for money, since it's 90,000 cheaper than the SX optional and gets you most of the features which you would need and even want. Having said this, SX optional is also a very understandable upgrade because you get 6 airbags, ambient lighting, air purifiers, the sunroof. So when the 90,000 does make sense. So even this is a considerable option if you're going for the Hyundai Venue. So that was the review of the Hyundai Venue Facelift SX optional 2022 variant. Do let us know in the comments what you feel about this car in general and whether would you buy one if you had a budget of 12 to 13 lakhs to spare for a car. Also let us know in the comments what you think about our review, and like if you really like the content and the overall reviews that we are doing. Let us know in the comments if there's some specific car that you want us to review and feature on this channel. Subscribe to our channel for more such content. Keep watching Throttle Up.